Welcome to SEC Football Live here on the 440 Sports Network, brought to you by ML Rose. I am Braden Gall. You get to me on the internet, however it is you internet, at Braden Gall. Trey Wallace joining us here from Outkick. Trey, how are you, sir? Good to see you, bud.
I'm good, man. I'm good. Been crazy off season. Turned into a legal correspondent, White House correspondent, business reporter, college football reporter, a little bit of baseball. I mean, damn, dude. My resume's stacked now, bro. Like I'm great. Looking for that new White House job. It's coming up soon.
Yeah.
I'll be on the Sports Olympic Committee.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So lots of stuff to do today. Of course, you got the coaches poll. It's out. You got this Netflix documentary. I got a nice look into Brian Kelly's wine taste. All kinds of camp news, of course, from all over the conference. I know you've been at Alabama and Gainesville and Knoxville, of course. So you've been to some camps. So we'll touch base on that. If you guys have questions, of course, please jump into the comments. Thumbs up on the notifications there on YouTube. Subscribe, rate, review. If you do not give us 5 stars, you are a hater. Also, we're actually live on SEC Football Live this time, so it's great. Actually, get to be live with all of you guys. So we'll get into all that stuff today. ML Rose, by the way, 7 great locations in Middle Tennessee. They just opened their 7th location, craft beer and burgers. It's the best burger and beer combo you can find in Nashville, and in my neighborhood in East Nashville. It is one of the best places, already the best place, to go watch actual sporting events. They have 2-for-1 drink specials on Saturdays and Sundays, so college football and pro football. And, of course, you've got the SEC sandwich on Saturdays only because synergy, Trey.
It's so good.
The sausage, egg, and cheese, baby. And the spicy cheese curds are addictive beyond comprehension.
Yeah, you're going home with some, by the way. Like you're going home with some.
Yeah. No question.
That's a spot, bro. That's a spot.
There you go. ML Rose. There you go. Craft beer and burgers. Best taps too. Like all locally craft beer or microbrewers from around the region. So really great Southern beer represented there as well. So I know we got some High Wire collabs, some Green Man collabs, some Good People collabs. So not just Nashville stuff. They got regional stuff for those of you who know those names of those breweries. So all right. So first and foremost, where have you been? I know you've been all over the place. Where you been?
Recently, I don't know what today is. Thursday. I was in Boulder, Colorado, catching out little Buffaloes practice. Talking with a couple coaches.
Aside from the beautiful lack of humidity.
Yeah, I know.
How good is that team going to be?
7-8 wins, in my opinion. I'm getting kind of pessimistic about that. I think you're not supposed to watch practice and whatnot, but I found a little perch while I was out there. They have it so weird at Colorado, to be honest with you. Like those players have to walk up a massive bridge just to get to the facility. Like I'm not hating on Colorado. Like it's an awesome looking place, but it's just you got to walk down this long pedestrian bridge just to get back up to the facility. So I feel for the 300-pound players that are trying to chug along with their pads and everything. But man, I'm excited to see what Caden Salter is going to do this year. I think he's got a wide receiver core that's going to help, and he's got a head coach, which that was kind of up in the air a month ago, 2 months ago. But yeah, I think Colorado is going to be a playoff contender. I don't know about all that, but I do think that this is like the next step, though. But I will say, just to wrap up Colorado, bringing in Caden Salter was the best move because it gives Julian Lewis time to progress and all that type of stuff. And we've all watched Caden Salter play. I'm sure Hugh Freeze would have loved to have him down at Auburn last year.
Is there anything like Saban was such a gravitational force?
Yeah.
I think Hugh Freeze has some element of gravitational force. Certainly Tebow, Manziel. We can come up with names over the last 15 years in the SEC that were just like planets that had all of us in orbit around them. And I don't know if we've ever had anything like Dion. I mean, maybe Tebow is at the same level, but I don't think including Saban, Kirby Smart, Hugh Freeze, I don't know, Coach O. I don't know of a coach in the SEC that comes close to sort of the gravitational force that Dion has. And I don't, some of it's for good reasons, some of it's not.
I mean, I look at it as it's almost like there's 2 different athletic departments out in Colorado. And sometimes you have to have it like that. And I'm not saying, whatever, each school can do their own thing. but especially from a public relations standpoint. I think, personally, the news all summer, besides what was going on with legal and White House and all that nonsense, was Deion Sanders going to be back for the 2025 season. And I think, his gravitational pull, like, you get it. Like, it's interesting. I'm watching him come up for practice. He's on the golf cart. They got massive speakers on the cart. He's surrounded by 3 guys, and he's bumping the music as he goes in. Like, it's just a different feeling. And then all of a sudden, his coaching staff you put together, hell, Warren Sapp's coming up and talking to us, Marshall Faulk and whatnot. Looks like, so everything that they've done, I get it. And I think that one of the interesting dynamics this year about college is, what's more attention going to be paid on? Be paid on Deion? Be paid on Belichick at North Carolina?
Ooh,
because in me, in the discussions I'm having with my bosses is, do I go cover?
It might be Belichick
game with Belichick versus TCU after I get back from Ohio State, Texas, just going down to North Carolina, or I might be going to Clemson, LSU.
Clemson, LSU for football. It's clearly Clemson, LSU, which is a playoff game too.
Night game, Death Valley. But what I'm saying is like, we're having those discussions now, the same discussions that we had over the last 2 to 3 years about going to cover a Deion game. We're going to cover a Belichick game.
Well, does the fact that Josh Hoover is a furry, does that change the thing? Does that change the story?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
It just reminds me. Furry. It just reminds me of Johnny Drama in the Entourage show.
Yes,
it's like
that
the
was
first
so
thing.
good.
It's like the first thing I think about, which is probably unfair, but you know what? I imagine the TCU quarterback does all right on campus.
Yes, absolutely. It's not like he's at BYU or anything, and that's about getting suspension. If you, so whatever.
If they wanted to kick every player off BYU's football team that had premarital relations, there wouldn't be a football team. So
they'd be rolling the walk-on roster right now. So
right.
Good for them.
You know what? I had not like. I do think the Deion. I think because his kids are now gone, I think there's slightly less juice there, but there's still tons of juice. I think Belichick is the new story du jour, and I think will be the thing we can talk about. And their schedule's so bad that they're going to win a shit ton of games. So it'll make them look like they're pretty good. So we'll see.
And they stole my quarterback, by the way, from South Alabama. So I really appreciate them doing that. Like my Jaguars, like, we're going to be great with Gio Lopez this year in the Sun Belt. Well, thanks, Belichick, for offering him $1.3 million. Really
so you weren't just in Boulder. You were around the Southeast as well. And I want you, Alabama, Florida, and Tennessee are 3 really fascinating and intriguing teams right now. And there's camp notes. We don't have a ton of access or information from most of these camps, but I am curious what you learned at those 3 stops. Is there anything that stood out that made one of those 3 stops more unique than the others in terms of what you experienced?
The Tennessee thing was weird because it was all the Boo Carter nonsense to start. You know what I mean? Like that was, like Tennessee needs athletes, and so you don't have your starting defensive back out there. You don't know if he's going to be part of the team or not. And by the way, they're going to use him at wide receiver this year. So like they have to, because they're running out of him because of injuries. But I think that part kind of stood out. Like it was because that decision came down pretty like that over that weekend is when that decision happened. So like they had some discussions and whatnot. So I think from the Tennessee standpoint with Boo Carter, and then also, you don't learn anything out there from practices and watching from Joey Aguilar to Merklinger. It's all about the people that you talk with afterwards. So I think that part stood out for me from Tennessee. And now Boo Carter's back practicing, by the way. Like I knew that would only last for about 3 days.
They don't have as many football players as they've had in the past.
Bro, are you also going to leave that much money just sitting on the sideline knowing you've already paid him? I mean,
a paycheck will mature you real fast.
Oh, and not getting a paycheck will also mature you real fast. So the other thing, I guess, with the Florida standpoint is there was so much chatter about DJ Lagway throughout the offseason. And what's his arm look like? Can he actually throw the ball 55 yards down the field without grimacing in pain? I think to me, though I wasn't in the area whenever he was stowing and whatnot down there, but the conversation surrounding all of that is that he's made his way back. Like everybody got bent out of shape about him straining his calf, and it's like, oh my God, he tore his calf, and we're not going to have DJ Lagway for the season. It's like, no, bro, chill out, man. He was running some sprints, strained his calf a little bit. He'll be fine. I think the problem was it got out that he was in a boot. It's like, oh, good Lord. It's like the Garrett Nussmeier rumors going wild yesterday. Oh my God, he tore his ACL. He's out for the season. Like, who's telling you this? Like, no, he didn't.
This is media though. So like I cover the Titans and I'm on the practice field.
God bless you, by the way.
And you get to see everything. And so if somebody like I watched like Calvin Ridley have a cramp and everyone on the sideline is like writing and tweeting and getting ready to post. And it's like, but I know that like coaches in the SEC feel like that's like somehow giving away state secrets, but actually it stops this bullshit from happening.
Yes.
If you just let a reporter, and you can't tweet during the practice, you can't say specific injuries, but if we're all watching, if all the LSU reporters are there on campus and they're all watching the incident happen and they're at practice and Garrett Nussmeier like slowly walks off, it'll say Garrett Nussmeier took a helmet to the knee and slowly walked off, but was fine after practice, and they're going for more tests. Like then we have the thing that's happening, and there's none of this garbage that's out there floating around.
And by the way, there can be a give and take as well with what you can report. Like if you're given the access to be there for the full 2 hours and you're not there for the stretching periods and the routes on air from period 0, 1 through 3 or whatever you want to call it, like it's about as useless. And God bless it. Like, don't get me wrong, like I enjoy it, but I'm saying it's useless. The only reason you're out there is to see which injured players in the indoor facility working out on his own. Like that. Yeah. It's really it. But I agree with you. Like, we can stop this shit from happening where Garrett Nussmeier rumors run wild for 3 hours. And, all it takes me is just a text. Hey man, what's up? No, he's fine. Okay, cool. All right. Like let's move on. So it just whatever. Preseason camp is they think they're hiding nuclear codes within the practice field. And, if you're breaking in a new quarterback, like I get it, like kind of, but at the same time, there is a give and go that you can do with the SIDs and whatever.
Yeah. I don't know why this just hit me. I don't know if you're a Zoolander, if you like the movie Zoolander or not.
A little bit. Yeah.
There's a scene where Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller are told they have to like break into a facility to go steal the files that are in the computer. And they get to the office and they're literally like beating on the computer. They're like, the files are in the computer, and they're trying to like beat the computer and get the files out. I just had in my head like Hugh Freeze digging a hole in the end zone at Auburn to bury the nuclear codes in the practice field.
He's
this is ridiculous.
Depth chart in the end zone. He's digging a hole out there. He's not digging his own, coaching career grave. He's putting in nuclear codes. Right. I mean, it's one of those things. And then I don't know.
Off color joke, Trey. Come on, man. Come on, off color.
Oh, I didn't even mean it like that. Yeah. But I didn't even think about that. Whatever. Don't put me on the spot like that. If you would have I didn't even think.
I'm gonna clip it. And run it out of context.
Oh, great. No, I'm sure somebody will on social media. I didn't even think about that. The Alabama thing is, Ty Simpson show. Can this happen? You know what I mean? Can he lead Alabama to 10 wins this season? 9 wins to make the playoffs? Can he do it? I think so. I think I like what Ryan Grubb. I spoke to a couple people. Ryan Grubb and that offense is going to be. I think it's going to be different, completely different than what you saw under Jalen Milroe. I think that's an obvious thing, but I think at the end of the day, too, you're not going to see Ty Simpson. Even though he has the wheels, by the way, he's got some wheels. You're not going to see him tucking him running 20 yards.
Right.
Every time the pocket breaks down, that's why you've got weapons on the outside, and a running game. So I overall, I'm more optimistic about Florida this year, and I'm optimistic about Alabama. I don't know if I could say something about Tennessee.
So so what you're saying is, having gone to those 3, you go to Alabama. You're a little bit more bullish on Alabama, having been there. You're a little bit more bullish on Florida, having been there, and a little bit less bullish on Tennessee, having been there. Is that fair?
I think it's also talking to folks, like even when I'm gone, talking to folks, what's going on in practice, what's going on in the meeting rooms, what's the summer been looking like, and then trying to install an offense. So yeah, I would say that Tennessee scares me in a way for them coming up this season, because if Joey Aguilar doesn't cut it, you got to go to Merklinger. And who's to say Merklinger? Like it feels like there are folks waiting for Faison to get to Tennessee. That's an obvious statement. But what I'm getting at is is this a 9-10 win team?
No.
I mean, I'm sorry, it's
they
not.
Lost too many veterans, too much talent, offensive line, defensive line. Like they've got a couple of really nice pieces. You mentioned Carter. You mentioned the other Carter. You've got McCoy if he's healthy.
If you got to get healthy,
some of the young players. I am so, and I guess we can. I got more questions about camp notes in general, but
no, that's fine. Yeah.
Coaches poll: Texas number 1, 28 first place votes. Georgia number 4, 3 first place votes. Bama at 8, LSU at 9, South Carolina 13, Ole Miss 15, Florida 17, Tennessee 18, Texas A&M 21. Now, coaches polls are what they are. They're voted on by SIDs, and graduate assistants. So these are not voted on
interns.
Although I could see Hugh Freeze actually doing the work of voting.
Hugh's sitting down and
maybe Shane Beamer too. But like, point is these are, they don't really mean anything. But I'm getting a lot of hell from a lot of folks. Like, we at Athlon have Tennessee at like 10 in the SEC. I think they were voted 10th. I want to say in the preseason. The coaches poll has them at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Most of my fellow alumni who don't like my opinion on Tennessee this year are pretty upset with the fact that I would have them even low. I think they're too high in this coaches poll. I would have Auburn ahead of them. I might even have Oklahoma ahead of them. I could see them being like 11th or 12th in the conference and still being a pretty good football team.
Yeah, well, it's also because I think we're headed towards the conference is going to be deep once again. Like I really do. Like I think last season caught some folks by surprise. I think just how competitive it was, which, and I'm talking about outside the conference. Like, I mean, you had 3 teams fighting for that 12th spot. So what I'm getting at, I think overall, you're not wrong about Tennessee. I think there's just teams in front of them. I think right now, and I'm just talking about this year, and I can look at Norris Sellers as the guy, you know what I mean? Like South Carolina has taken that step above Tennessee just for this year. I'm just talking about players on the field. What all we've heard about Tennessee over the last 2.5 days was, well, their wide receivers are hurt. And Mike Matthews is wearing a brace and he's trying to get that. Like, what I'm getting at is that you lost so many wide receivers in the portal, and you're going to rely on Brazil and Mike Matthews. Like, I've seen Brazil play, right? But what I'm getting at is depth-wise is the biggest thing to me. It reminds me of kind of what's going on in Florida, a little bit Oklahoma from last year. Well, you're not wrong about that. I mean, you really aren't, because there's so many teams in front of them that can, I think Ole Miss has got a better quarterback situation than Tennessee right now. That's just facts with Austin Simmons.
But also, I think Ole Miss is overrated, because the 2 teams that were very good last year that lost almost everything in an even more difficult SEC are Ole Miss and Tennessee. And so I see South Carolina, I see Florida. I really like Texas A&M. Like, I'm coming around. A&M and Auburn are the 2 that I'm kind of coming around on. Like, guys, I think we are underrating A&M and Auburn in a big way. 2 elite offensive lines.
Yes.
Really great defensive coach in Mike Elko. Quarterbacks that have experience. Reed with even more than Jackson Arnold. I just think we're undervaluing both of those teams, and I think they could be. I think A&M could finish as high as like 4th or 5th. I think Auburn could finish as high as 7th or 8th, and both of them could be sort of in that 8-2 range with like 2 games to play, meaning they're in the hunt for a playoff spot.
Well, the thing about it too is Jackson Arnold just in a different circumstance at Auburn compared to where he was at Oklahoma. I remember being out there for that Oklahoma-Tennessee game covering it last year, and Jackson Arnold was lost. Get him in a system with Hugh Freeze and whatnot, and
then he destroyed Alabama like a couple months
right
later.
Exactly. And it's like, what? Okay, that's fine. And so and this is also not like Hugh Freeze doesn't have a year where he can just sit around and wait for Deuce Knight to be ready. This is not Billy Napier with DJ Lagway on the sideline because they had Graham Mertz. Like, Auburn's got to win now. So I like Auburn. I love Marcel Reed at Texas A&M. I like what they're doing on defense. I like what they have at the running back spot. And so I agree with you about the ranking side. Auburn, Texas A&M, maybe people are pessimistic because they look at last season and they're like, oh, okay, well, we saw what they did last year. Did they add enough talent to this year? And if you do your research, I think they have.
Yeah, Auburn at Texas A&M September 27th could be a big game to decide exactly what we're talking about here. But after that, Auburn is good. So you got 3 tough road games the first 5. You got Baylor, Oklahoma, and A&M, all very difficult games, but all winnable games in theory. I think Baylor's much better than people think.
Yeah, the Friday night game too, by the way. Like,
yeah, very weird. They host Georgia on the 11th. Always play better against Georgia at home, and then they go Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Mercer. They're going to rattle off 5 straight there, probably. So it really depends on some of those road games.
Wait. Are you discounting the governor of the state of Alabama? Whoever Diego Pavia owns the state.
I mean, Diego Pavia 3-0 against Hugh Freeze on 2 different teams.
3-0, and by the way, he's got to win over Bama. He's 4-0.
No, I know. Okay, fair enough. Auburn at Vanderbilt, playoff spot on the line? Question mark.
Oh snap! Yeah,
you're right. I apologize, Mr. Pavia.
I hope you're talking about Auburn. I'm not looking past Vanderbilt either. I mean, you can't.
He's a war criminal. That's brutal, Jake. Brutal.
It takes back to my.
Right, let me go back to. I want to go back to Bama because I want to get into Bama. I find Bama to be one of the most complicated teams to understand because it is. If you're looking at it through the lens of Saban and what Saban built and the Alabama expectations, not just of under Saban, but in Alabama in general, with Bear Bryant and championships is all that matters, and et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
I think it's easy to be like, oh, this is clearly a step down. There's no way you can compete at that level, and I think that's a little unfair, but I understand Alabama's expectations. Right. But Kalen DeBoer has been an immediate impact coach everywhere he's been, from Indiana to Fresno State to Washington. And I think at Alabama, he's going to be good eventually. Bring in Ryan Grubb, Ty Simpson, as you mentioned, all can do all this stuff. They're better on the offensive line. They're better they're going to have a better running game. I think defensively, they're just as good as anybody in America. I had LSU ahead of Alabama for most of the summer. I have now, as I'm making tweaks, and A&M's going up and Auburn's going up in my book, and Tennessee and Ole Miss are kind of taking a step back, more so Tennessee. I am looking at Bama and I'm going, is there a chance this is the second best team in the league, not only ahead of LSU, but maybe even ahead of Georgia? Like Georgia has a lot of questions. I like Georgia. They'll be fine. But I don't know what to make of Alabama. I feel like they are the true wild card that could win the whole thing, a national championship if the quarterback hits, or they could be 8-4 and out of the playoff altogether. And I think they are going to decide so much in this league in 2025.
Yeah, it's the confusing mannerisms going on in Tuscaloosa because there's still folks that are like, okay, is this going to work under Kalen? Like, is this going to, when Ryan Grubb didn't come with him the first time around, when he first accepted the job, went to Seattle and whatnot, and now he got him to come, however the situation played out. I think I don't want to say it set Kalen back in his first year, but Kalen DeBoer is a hell of a lot more comfortable right now at Alabama than he was last year.
Yeah.
And that's going to mean a lot for that offense. And by the way, Kane Womack on defense. Yeah. By the way, thanks.
South Al,
my damn head coach as well. Like I just got screwed in the offseason. I mean, I really did. But you got Kane Womack as well. So I think what they're going to be able to do on defense, and then it's always that question mark. Like you don't know. It's the Saban effect. You don't know how they're going to do. What have you seen from recruiting? Okay, Alabama stepped it up.
Crushing.
I've said this for the last year, pretty much since the end of the last season. Auburn's biggest mistake was they didn't kick the dog when it was down, and Alabama was just kind of figuring out what the hell they were.
They were laying down also.
Well, they were laying down also. They didn't prop up. So I think you are right when it comes to the surprise factor of Alabama, because we're going to find out, in the first month and a half, really what this squad is. And I'd say the first game of the season, but we're going to see what Florida State wants to bring to the table. But at the end of the day, yeah, I think Alabama's going to be one of those teams fighting for a playoff spot. And I'm not talking like top 4. I don't know yet, but I do think they're going to be in contention. And I think it's going to depend on the arm of Ty Simpson. So when you look at it right now, I understand the pessimism around Alabama because you don't know what to expect yet. And so
I think it's good for them.
I do too.
It's such a Saban thing. It's such a Saban thing to be like, everybody's disrespecting us. We're picked 3rd or 4th in the conference. And like, I have visual images of their offense just dissecting people the way Washington did when they had a quarterback that he trusted. And so it's not a knock on Milroe. It's just more of the playbook is available. That's it.
People forget that Brian Grubb and Kalen were up there, developing Penix. I mean, you forget that. You know what I mean? Like we don't.
So where are you putting Bama? Where are you putting Bama? You got Texas 1 or no?
Yeah, I got for
right.
now. I got Texas 1. I got Texas 1. I would. I'm putting it out next week. But
Georgia,
Texas 1, LSU, then Georgia.
LSU 2.
Yeah. I know.
So much for I'm jumping Alabama over LSU.
I don't. I mean,
all right, Brett. Well, tell me why. And don't tell me it's because Brian Kelly's wine cellar is clearly a showpiece in his household.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
Sean says, having watched any given Saturday and have no affinity for college, I'm hoping South Carolina has a huge year. We'll see.
We're going. Yeah,
Shane Beamer knows where the cameras are.
Yes, absolutely does, and he's very good at it. By the way,
yeah, no, very good. Yeah,
very good at it. He stood out to me. Look, if this is going to be, I don't want to say there is so much pressure on LSU, but what they were able to do in the portal, and I think when you have a veteran quarterback like Garrett Nussmeier, who made a very, very tough decision to come back,
very good player.
I think to me, with what they have on the outside and the weapons, and then stepping up that defense has been the biggest thing over the last 2 years, Braden. Like, we remember what happened against USC. And even some other games where you're like, what the hell kind of defensive performance is this? What kind of they have taken the next step, in my opinion. And I feel like with a veteran leader like Garrett, where a couple of teams are kind of looking around and trying to see if that quarterback's going to be the guy, I think that's somebody that Brian Kelly can lean on. And by the way, we're going to find out real quick in Death Valley, I guess the second Death Valley. I don't want to piss off any LSU fans in here, but when they go to Clemson, first game of the season. So to me, that's where I got him. But that's where we can fumble around with the top 4. If I'm being honest with you, like we don't know what Arch Manning is yet, and I'm just being like we think we know what Arch is. Like we see potential there, but
I go back and forth on the top. I don't really waver around Texas, but I also don't. Here's the other thing: I don't think winning the SEC championship is all that big of a deal.
Not anymore.
It's just not. So if you go 10-2 the way Ohio State did last year and you're Texas and you win the national championship, well, it's clear you were number 1. The way Ohio State was number 1 even after losing twice last year. So I go round and round on Georgia, LSU, Alabama, Texas. I've always kind of leaned Texas, but I do think like one day I'm like, no, I think it's Georgia. They're going to figure it out. I trust Kirby Smart. The next day I'm like, no, it's Bama. I think people are down on them. And then I'm with you. Like Brian Kelly is the best, most disrespected coach in the media of anybody I've ever met. Absolutely. I don't know if it's his personality type, if it's his general sort of old school abrasiveness. I don't
stupid videos at his social media.
Yeah, like all the goofy things he does. I don't know if it's all of that forces like a lot of SEC people that I know in the media that are smart, that I respect, that all just think, hell, the former host of this show, Stephen Godfrey's like, yeah, Brian Kelly sucks. And I'm like, I'm not saying he's the best. That's not what I think.
Right.
But you do not pass Newt Rockne and become the greatest, most successful coach in the history of Notre Dame football and win championships at every other stop in your career.
Yes.
And like again, I'm not saying that he's accomplished what he's supposed to at LSU, but one of the greatest offenses in the history of the league. Atrocious defense, granted.
Yeah.
And how much better are they this year is kind of my big question about LSU. I just think that Brian Kelly he's not some bozo who doesn't know how to coach.
And by the way,
like he's done a great job most of his career. Unlike Hugh Freeze, who gets a ton of respect and benefit of the doubt, who has never won anything in his life.
I think folks forget sometimes that you got the head coach, and the head coach is the president, owner of the operation, and that's why you put others in control to make sure that they come up on their spots. Everybody can put it on Brian Kelly, and that's fine, but it's at some point, you blame your DC, you blame your install, you made mistakes, maybe you can go back and fix them, which they're doing. I think Brian Kelly gets the rap, and I think it goes to his football team because there's a lot of people out there that just dislike him. If you took away the dislike factor off of him, you might think a little bit different about LSU. They might. Yeah. I know it sounds simple, but from the folks I've spoken with around the country, that seems to be true. So there's a lot of people that kind of doubt Brian Kelly. I just think if you get past that and you look at the damn roster, the roster should say that's a playoff team and contend.
So I want to. This is a perfect time for us to to chat about this Netflix documentary. So I think what's fascinating about this, like college football is my favorite sport. And so I watched the quarterback. I started watching the quarterback one, which is the NFL quarterbacks, which is Burrow.
Wasn't bad.
And Cousins in his second go round. And why am I drawing a blank on the other one? Goff, Jared Goff.
Yeah.
And because I think the NFL is so exposed in general, I turned it off by like midway through the second episode. I was like, all right, this is fine. Like it's interesting, but like I don't really. This is what it is. I'm way more interested in the SEC one, because I love college football more, but also because you just don't see inside Brian Kelly's house or Shane Beamer's lunch counter, or you don't see. And I've only seen one episode, so I haven't seen the rest of it. But like you don't see that stuff, and you certainly don't see any practice, as we've already talked about. So I do find it to be more interesting. And the Untold documentaries are not documentaries. Okay,
no.
SEC football fans. That is Urban Meyer getting paid to have final edit on a puff piece. And honestly, the Manziel one wasn't that different either. But
it was the same stories that we had heard.
The Urban Meyer one was an insult to the word documentary, in my opinion.
Swamp Kings. Good God, that was terrible. I blasted whatever. Yeah.
What I'm struggling with, though, is that because I cover the sport, I already know all of the outcomes so intimately that I'm struggling with some of this stuff. What I really love is like seeing Lenora Sellers as a person, because I think he's a really interesting person off the field.
Yes.
And I think seeing him and how he interacts and how he learns, and then, getting down to Florida and seeing Lagway and how he trained as a freshman, 2 freshman star quarterbacks coming into their own as a freshman is interesting. Again, I joke about Brian Kelly's wine cellar, but that ain't some wine cellar like down in the basement with a bunch of brick wall. That is in the living room.
Yeah.
With backlights and like air conditioning and temperature controlled and like fancy glass. That is a walk into the house and I want to make sure you know how many bottles of wine I've got.
It reminded me of that movie. That reminded me of that Netflix. It was called Dumb Money. It was talking about the trading and all that. And Seth Rogen is sitting there, his character.
Yeah.
He's about to talk with the congressional leaders, and I'll just do the Zoom right here behind my big old wine, cabinet, my wine cellar.
Yeah,
everything's fine. Like, no, but that's what Brian Kelly has, And I loved how the Netflix cameraman followed him to the wine cellar, and he picked out his best bottle.
The same one. They got like one of the same.
Right, it's the same damn one that's just up the list. It's like, okay,
like, I really like this 07 cab. It was delicious.
Right, exactly. So you get what you get with that. I know what went into the production of that, how many hours, the coaches and stuff gave to them, but gives you a different perspective. It reminded me, I went out to South Carolina spring practice 2 years ago when Lenora was just coming on the scene. Like, it was his true freshman year. And we're sitting in spring practice. I'm standing next to Shane Beamer, and me and him are having a long conversation. And, I said, okay, well, what's up with Sellers? What do you think about? He said, that kid's going to be special. Just watch. He's going to be our starting quarterback. And here we are 2.5 years later. He is. So the Netflix documentary and the series, you have to understand, the folks out there, that each team only gives the cameras a specific amount of time. So just to set it for you, just real quick, these interviews that you see with coaches, and it looks like they're talking about every single week, and it looks like they're going back and interviewing after every game.
They sat down for like an hour and got everything they needed.
Right, and they made each coach go back through the horrible losses and everything that they went through, and you could still see Shane just fuming over not making the playoffs.
I have not gotten there yet, but I imagine.
Oh no, yeah, but rightfully so. Like, everybody had an argument today.
They don't lose by 30 points to Ole Miss or whatever.
Right. I just mean from the argument standpoint. Like, I get coming off the Clemson, and then you go from there. I think that there were certain things that were interesting to me. When you get to the Vanderbilt part, by the way, like, here we go. Like, Diego Pavia is the star, because they did it in 2 ways. I'm not spoiling it for anybody because you already know the damn scores. Right. But they did the Arkansas upset over Tennessee and the Vanderbilt upset over Alabama in 1 episode.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was really neat how they put it together. And Sam Pittman was open in the way that they're talking about, look, I can get fired, tomorrow. Shane Beamer was talking about, I'm paraphrasing. But, they really opened up. And I don't think couple of them schools are going to sign up for it if they do it again next year.
Well, just so everybody knows, Alabama, Georgia, Missouri, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, and Texas all opted out of the documentary series. What's interesting is we've got to remember this. It is not for you and I.
No.
It is not for people that have covered this sport for 20 years. It is
It's
for the average sports fan and, who doesn't necessarily know all the ins and outs of college football, and they want to know about this SEC thing. And then there's really cool access to the practice fields and to the players' families and the coaches' families and homes and interactions. And I imagine that's going to play really well to a group that doesn't already know, like, intimately, like the controversy around the roughing penalty in the LSU South Carolina game, right? Like, I know about that in just off the top of my head, but I'm still into it. I'm still way more into it than, Hard Knocks or quarterback in the NFL, because the NFL is so exposed, and in the SEC we just don't get access to this stuff, even as reporters.
Right. I mean, even the Florida, and they kind of went back and forth in Florida a little bit, but pretty much their episode was the Graham Mertz show, and then you had a side of DJ having to come in. But if you're a Wisconsin fan and you like Graham Mertz, go watch it. Like, it was, but I know what you're talking about. Like, you're hitting. I was in the country. Like,
I was in the stadium when Graham Mertz got hurt and DJ Lagway brought them back and got them into overtime. Like, I saw it with my own eyes, so I don't need to relive it. But like, I know now it's like a media.
Here's how I put it. No. Here's how I put it. It's taking fans behind the fourth wall, stuff that you don't see, and that is why it's intriguing. It's intriguing for Tennessee fans when you hear. And I'm not going to say the word because whatever, I don't want to get you in trouble on your show, but we're going to go out.
You can't say Nico. That's that a 4-letter word in Knoxville?
It's blasphemy in Knoxville. You can't say that.
You can't be. This is okay. Sorry. I got to get this off my chest. Because I always, as a Tennessee alumni, I've just dealt with this shit on a personal level through my local career, national, whatever. And I never understood the Kiffin thing, because if you hated Lane Kiffin, you should be having a party and not burning couches and keeping his kids from getting to the bus. If you hated Lane Kiffin, you should be like, best of luck to you, buddy. Like, good on you, man. Get out of here. If you think he's great, then you got to change all your opinions. because then that makes sense the way you acted, even though I don't approve of that. It's no different with Nico. Either Nico was worth $2.5 million as a backup and $2.5 million as a starter, which the going rate's now like 4 on a playoff quarterback. Either you think he's good and you really liked him the last 3 years, like you said he has been the savior of your football program, or he's terrible and you're happy to see him go. Like, it can't be both. You can't have it both ways.
And by the way, Tennessee would have won 7 games last year if it wasn't for their running game. Like, I think if folks are forgetting that, okay.
Yeah.
And somebody come at me on social media last night. I was praising Diego, and they wanted to throw in, well, he only had 104 yards against Tennessee. And I was like, well, that's the same amount of damn yards Nico had against Ohio State.
Dude, so, somebody
we can go all day on this shit.
I can't remember who was like, oh, so-and-so was better than Pavia. Nico was better than Pavia. And I was like, I think Pavia was better in every statistical category.
Yeah.
And just from a general talent perspective, like he had 192 carries. He was 3rd in the conference in rushing. It's ridiculous.
By the way, he did it in the second half of the season with a partially torn ligament in his hamstring.
Right.
Like, and that's dead ass, by the way. Like, that's serious. Like, folks think that Diego's blowing smoke. No. He had a hamstring problem last year. There just wasn't a lot of people that wanted to put that out. He kept that in his close inner circle, and he's a dog. And the folks that, if you don't like Diego, you're not going to like him in this series. But I'll tell you this, I would rather have a quarterback like him on my football team that's going to go out there, and he's not shit talking. He's just saying, this is what we expect.
Just be yourself.
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
And whatever. And I promise you that the Netflix folks loved him.
No question. I'm excited to see it.
No, and by the way, who the hell are we talking about this offseason a good amount besides Arch in the SEC? Diego Pavia.
Well, number 2 biggest scrum of all the players in Atlanta for the media days. Arch Manning was 1. Diego Pavia was 2.
I was trying to get around it. So what I'm saying is I think you're going to enjoy it, wrapping it full around with the Netflix thing. You'll enjoy it if you're a Pac-12 fan. You'll enjoy it if you're a Big 12 fan.
Yeah.
You'll hate that the conference got that much attention, but maybe they can do something. Here, I'll ask you this too. If you had a Big 10 type of series that followed the Big 10, like they just did with the SEC, would it actually be intriguing to other fans? I just feel like
it would.
No hate.
It would.
I do too. It
but
all depends
I
on
think
who you have.
but I think the Michigan story off the heels of, like, had it been last year, the heels of like the remnants of the Connor Stallions thing, and I think
still lingering. By the way, they're waiting on a penalty.
James Franklin is a fascinating story. The fact that Ohio State was #1 in the nation would have been played up last year. I think the problem, and this is honestly, it's the exact same analysis about the football teams as well. And Oregon would have been a really good story. Lincoln Riley's struggles throughout the course of the year would have been really good at USC.
I'd pay $30 just to see the aftermath of the Ohio State Michigan game.
100%. What's interesting, though, is that the things like this is ultimately the problem with the quality of the football is that they don't, like, if you go into the SEC and you look at those coaching rankings we just talked about.
Yeah.
Like we talked about the top 4. You could talk about the top 4 in the Big Ten, and they're competitive, right? It's going to be Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan right now, for now. Let's just use those 4. But like after that, in the SEC, you have South Carolina, Ole Miss, Florida, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and Auburn, all capable of doing extraordinary things. And in the Big Ten, you have Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan State. Washington's pretty damn good. USC could be good, but Illinois is good this year. Indiana was good last year, but you don't have the teams that can win national championships stacking up ready to go the way the SEC does. And that's just the difference. And it's not that I've been to lots of football games in the Big Ten. Iowa Stadium is great. Madison is unbelievable.
Nebraska was awesome.
Nebraska Stadium is just as good as anybody's in the SEC. They just don't have the same level of elite athlete. And I think there was a quote in the first episode, and I want to move on here and we can wrap up. But there was a quote in the first episode from one of the players that was just like, third down in the SEC is just different, man. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly right.
It is. No, it is. And it's not a shot. It's just reality. Like Northwestern, you know what I mean? Like if you had Northwestern on there, are folks going to be that intrigued to watch behind the scenes of Northwestern compared to
Maryland, Rutgers,
right? Like
Purdue.
You're getting there, and so that's what I'm getting at is like, would this work in another conference?
I think it would.
Right, yeah. I do too. So
all right, so I'm going to end with this. I want you to tell me who we're just like dead wrong about, and when I say we, I mean like the proverbial college football group think. Like I think we are dead wrong about Auburn. I think Auburn being like 12th in the league and 30th overall, like I think they're significantly better than that. I think the schedule sets up for them to be pretty good. Mm-hmm. And maybe I'm wrong, but I just think I've already said A&M and Auburn are way too low in my book. I think they should be higher. Missouri, I don't think is very good, but their schedule sets up. Who are we dead wrong about in our rankings right now? If you had to pick one,
I'm gonna say Georgia. I'm gonna say Georgia. I don't know if Georgia fans are right. This is going to feel like an old school type of Georgia team where they're going to try to just run, and then pass. That could come back to bite them in the ass. Like they don't. Gunnar Stockton, God bless him. We'll see what happens this year. But we got to see him in 2 games last season. Pretty much. Like I don't know what to expect from Georgia. And I think right now, I know what they have talent-wise. I get it completely. But I think at the same time, there's just this question mark. We've already been over Alabama, and we've already been over the other teams. But I think from the rankings, I think Georgia, to me, could be a 9-3 football team. Now, that probably gets you in the playoff, but you're not top 4, top 6, and whatnot. I think that Georgia, to me, is a question mark. And I think that, at the end of the day, can Kirby Smart, he's found a way over the years with Stetson and Carson, and now can he do it with Gunner? God bless him until he proves me wrong. He's done it.
Okay.
SEC championship, but at the same time, I think that Georgia right now, to me, is my biggest question mark heading into the season.
I like it.
Just because I'm just skeptical.
I mean, they're loaded with questions. The whole depth chart is a question mark, but they have a lot of answers we just don't know the names to yet.
That's exactly right, and we're going to figure it out real quick. Like we'll figure it out. Like
South Carolina or Florida.
You mean? Are you talking like biggest
South Carolina or Florida? Who do you like better, South Carolina or Florida?
South Carolina. South Carolina.
Okay. You got a sneaky wry smile on your face right now, big guy.
I don't know if I trust what's going on with DJ Lagway yet. and his arm. And his arm. It was a complicated offseason for the Florida Gators when it comes to their quarterback and that shoulder. Let's see what he has. I mean, Billy Napier was kind of coy about it the other day. You guys got to see him throw for the first time in public. And I was like, public. That's a weird word to say. He's throwing out Instagram videos or he's throwing the ball 10 yards down the field. All I'm getting at is he takes a big hit to that shoulder, first game of the season. How is he responding? I have question marks. I trust South Carolina's talent this year. I think South Carolina is going to surprise folks. The same way, I'll make a correlation to it. Same way Ole Miss had the talent last year to go make a playoff run. I think South Carolina has that talent. People should be scared to death of Dylan Stewart. You're not going to be able to pull off the same stuff you did with James Pierce last year at Tennessee where you double teamed him.
Well, Dylan Stewart likes football also.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and Dylan Stewart can get in front of the media and actually talk about the football team as well. I mean,
he likes playing football, so there's
right. He likes playing football. All you Falcons fans
I like
out there.
Look, I would have South Carolina 5, Texas A&M 6, Auburn 7, and I know that makes me sound crazy. I know.
But I think here's what it is about South Carolina, Braden. It's people putting the name of South Carolina and having a hard time saying, "Oh, this is a top 5 team in the SEC." Yeah. That's what it is. We could have done that with Ole Miss over the last 2 years because it was Ole Miss.
I think this league could get 5 in this year too. I think they easily could go from 3 to 5 without even thinking about it. Now they're going to beat each other up, so I don't know what happens, but I think Bama's in. I think Georgia could be in. I think Texas is in. I think LSU's in. I think South Carolina's in. So.
Yes, I'm taking South Carolina. But at the end of the day, if DJ Lagway can go a whole year,
they're good too. They're good. I'm with you.
Changes my perspective, but there's question marks on Lagway, and then do we? Is Florida going to have 3 losses, in the middle of
their
October?
Schedule is so hard.
I know, and it was hard last year, but what?
Hard.
I mean, Missouri doesn't leave the state, for what?
Dude,
6 games?
Tennessee's the one team that figured out how to manage the quote unquote manageable schedule because Missouri couldn't do it last year. They had an easier schedule. Ole Miss had a slightly easier schedule, lose to Kentucky at home. South Carolina has it this year. Auburn has it this year. You look at these teams that have just a slightly easier schedule and you see the trajectory up and you're like, I don't know, man. I kind of like those squads. Now, again, also 1 through 12, maybe even 13 with Missouri. They're all pretty good football teams. So there's a lot of balance in this league. So Trey, look, I've already kept you long enough.
I want to ask you something. If you looked at it right now, who's your Heisman contender that you think would be in New York out of the SEC?
I mean, it's hard not to look at Sellers.
Right.
I mean, Sellers, Nussmeier, and Arch could be the first 3 picks in the draft.
I'll just say quarterback.
You know what I mean?
We wide receiver and running back and all that, but quarterback, yeah. I
mean, Ryan Williams is going to get a lot of run if he delivers.
Yes. South Carolina could start the Heisman campaign for Lenoris in week 2.
I would do, and their schedule sets up. They should be 5 or 6-0 before they play a very difficult final stretch. But it sets up for them to build. And you said you like the talent at South Carolina. I agree with you. Like Georgia, though, it's a lot of unproven pieces on defense. They put so many guys into the NFL, and so they're more. I talked to some folks around the program, and they're more athletic. They're better athletes, but they don't have the experience that TJ Kennard and Emmanwori and all these guys had on the back end. So they're going to have to find those guys, but they have the schedule to allow for that to happen. And a lot of people forget about
that. So a lot of people forget about that. It's all about schedule setup as well to build that momentum for the back half. And
which is why Auburn, if Auburn's schedule was flipped and those 5 winnable games were early, then I might be even higher on them. I did talk to somebody around both programs. I think it was I asked Joe Goodman about this.
Yeah.
Sorry. He was on the show a couple of months ago. I said, who's closer to the playoff, Alabama or Auburn? He said, Auburn. I said, you got to be kidding me.
I spoke with somebody. I was down in Mobile a month ago, and I spoke with somebody very, very close to the Auburn program who is in on the decision making. And I said, how many wins has Hugh got to get this year for him to be back in 26? He said 8. He better
he's
get
sandbagging. I think he's
eight.
Joe said he was sandbagging. He loves his team and he's sandbagging. I don't know.
Would that surprise you? It's you freeze.
No, misdirection from you freeze? No way.
Right.
Virginia, South Carolina schedule. Virginia Tech, South Carolina State, Vanderbilt at home. That's a big one there.
Yes.
Missouri and Kentucky. That's 5-0 to start before you go LSU, Oklahoma, Bama, Ole Miss, A&M. So it's a very hard schedule to finish. And
that's going to be a fun ass game on that Sunday night in Atlanta between South Carolina and Virginia Tech. I think the final score will be indicative of what. By the way, don't look past. If you're a Tennessee fan, don't look past Syracuse in the opening game. I'm just telling you, Fran Brown.
He's a very good coach. They're rebuilt though, big time.
I know they are, but Tennessee's got to find a quarterback that can go out and throw the ball for 50 yards down the field.
Here's all I would say, and we're still a couple of weeks away, so we got another week of like overall previewing next week, and then we finally start to get looking at games in week
Kansas State, Iowa State.
Dude, that's International Farmageddon. Sign me up.
Stanford, Hawaii at 11 o'clock at night.
Dude, I can't wait. Here's the deal. See, now I forgot what I was going to say.
No. Here's
what I was going to say about week 1.
Yeah.
Alabama minus the 12. That's all I'm going to say.
Really? Okay.
Florida State. The thing that Florida State will be able to do, because they're going to go. They're going full Nick Marshall with Thomas Castellanos. Like that's what they're going to do. They're going to run 2013 Auburn offense.
Yes.
And it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting, and it's going to be much, much better.
Right.
But you know what Alabama can do right away out of the box this year? Stop people in the front 7. So I think Bama is going to stop them, and I don't think that Florida State has any defensive personnel yet figured out.
So I think Alabama will be able to
I think Alabama
stop
scores.
the tip ball 40 yards down the field for Davis to pick it up, run in the end zone.
All right.
I think Alabama's going to go down there and win. I don't disagree with you, but at the same time,
Florida State won. They won 0 ACC games last year. I just want to remind you of that.
I know they did.
Zero.
But they've reloaded. No, I get it. It's not a hostile environment that they're walking.
Bama minus 12. Bama minus 12. All right.
Bama
ML Rose. ML Rose, always undefeated, never defeated. SEC sandwiches, great drink specials on Saturdays and Sundays for football games. Also in basketball season, baseball season, they got you covered on the weekends as well. So make sure you check them out. Friday nights are great. They got trivia night. They got all kinds of specials, local craft beer, fantastic burgers, and according to my wife, the best ranch dipping sauce in the city. So if you're in Nashville, you know ML Rose. You trust that name. You trust that brand. There's 7 of them now. Somewhere near you, there's one. If you're coming into town to visit Nashville, like I know so many SEC fans do, come on in, check out ML Rose. Great place to hang, great for the kids, great food, great beer for the moms and dads, and great TVs for all your sporting event needs. So check out ML Rose. Trey, what you got coming up, man? Tell everybody what you're doing.
Yeah, dude. So we'll have a little bit of Colorado stuff next week coming off that trip that I just took, but going to be releasing some rankings starting on Monday. I know the AP poll comes out. I know fans will overreact to that and have fun with it. Prepare yourself. But a couple of coaching interviews that I've lined up over the last week or so that I've already got in the books. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to the grind will start once again, and it'll be a 7-month stretch where the only time that we get a break is to take a piss. So I look forward to it. I'm ready.
It's going to be fun, dude. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks everybody for hanging out. We do appreciate it. If you're listening on the podcast app of choice, give us 5 stars. If you do not give us 5 stars, you are a hater. On YouTube, of course, as well. Thumbs up, notifications turned on, all that great stuff. ML Rose, Trey Wallace, thanks for hanging out, dude. Always a pleasure to see you. My name's Braden Gall. We'll talk to you next time.